record this. I'm also going to record every session going forward, and then I'm going to post them on Canvas. I will likely forget. So every meeting, if someone please just remind me, say, hey, do that. I would appreciate your help. So now we're recording. Good. Okay. So we'll be meeting 1 to 2:30 on Thursdays. EST, I'm in Baltimore. Where online, there's my Zoom meeting room address, which is the one we're in right now. That's my name, Furman DeBrabander. There's my email address. My office. Well, I have a real office on campus, but it is empty. So you will reach me on Zoom if you want to talk about anything. Office hours, I don't have any set office hours because it's, it's everything's in flux. So I'm open to talking anytime. You need to talk to me. We can do this anytime. I'm very flexible. Since it's on Zoom, we can meet, late in the evening, my time, early in the morning, my time. Anything, anything between the hours of 7 or 8 a.m. and midnight EST is fine by me. Just give me a holler. Okay. We will be exploring the topic of the wild under 3 main critical frameworks: borders and margins. How do we define what is wild? Where are its borders? Must it have strict borders? And what does the wild represent to us? Is it the beyond, the inhuman, the unknown? Is it anything at all? Self and identity. What does wilderness offer me? What does it teach or tell me about myself, and how does it inform who I am or what I am or what I'm not? Power and equity. Who shall benefit from the wild? Who has the right to own it, cultivate it, or domesticate it? How should we protect wilderness going forward? Those are our main critical themes and approaches to this topic. For texts, most of the texts in this class are going to be available on Canvas, and I believe I have already put them all on there. Okay. These would be Jean-Jacques Rousseau. You're going to be reading part 1 of the Discourse on the Origin of Inequality. I have found a digital copy of Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, and I posted that as well. If you have your own copy, that's fine. Michael Pollan's Botany of Desire, Chapter 1. Robin Wall Kimmerer, Braiding Sweetgrass, several excerpts. And then a couple of short stories: Zoo Going by Lydia Millett, The Buck by Joyce Carol Oates, and Bird in Hand by T. Corgesson Boyle. There are 2 books that I've asked you to purchase, and you have some time to get them because we will only be using them in the second half of class. They are Half Earth by Edward Wilson, and they are Rambunctious Garden by Emma Maris. I'm especially excited about the second one. I think it is such a great book, and I hope you will enjoy it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the requirements, then I'll pause and see if anybody has any questions, okay? So this is not going to be a lecture class. This is a seminar class, meaning that it will be discussion-based. That means class participation is important. Now, there is going to be there's a synchronous component to the class, and there's an asynchronous component to the class. Synchronous meaning when we meet in class on Zoom at the same time and talk with one another. You are required to have done the reading by the time we meet and take part in discussions. That would be great. If you are a little bit reluctant to voice your comments, I understand there is a chat component here on Zoom, and maybe we could have a lively chat room going, but no promises that I'll be able to follow along. I'll do my best. And then there will be also an asynchronous component, which is there are reading responses that are going to be due before class each week on the reading due that week. I'm going to walk you through the first reading responses, which I've already posted for your first reading due next week. Okay, I'll do that in a minute. I'm generally going to ask you 2 to 3 questions per reading per week, and I look for a paragraph answer each. More detailed, substantive, the better. Writing is a very important part of this class. You'll be writing 3 papers. 2 of them are going to have rough drafts associated with them, which I will comment on and edit and send back to you. These essays include a critical analysis essay, a personal narrative essay, and an argumentative essay, and their due dates are listed on the schedule below, which I'm going to get into. And here is the breakdown. Okay. Let me pause for a second, see if anybody has any questions about any of this stuff so far. Anybody have any questions? No? Okay. So here's your course schedule. Today, introduction, just an introductory discussion. For next week, you're going to read Rousseau's Discourse on the Origin of Inequality, Part 1, which is posted on Canvas. Then you're going to read the Tao Te Ching, which I've also posted on Canvas. Towards the latter part of the month, we're going to move into Michael Pollan's Botany of Desire, Chapter 1, and then the first draft of your papers are due, of your first paper is due on October 1st, okay? I just posted the directions for those under the module for October 1st. You can take a look at them if you want. Then we'll be looking at Robin Wall Kimmerer, her selections from her book Braiding Sweetgrass, which is a really wonderful book. That's also on Canvas. October 15th, the final draft of your first paper is due. Going to have you, there will be no reading responses due that day. Maybe I should indicate that in the syllabus. And then you're going to have, you have 3 short stories to read, which are posted on Canvas that day, okay? Then we'll be moving into Edward Wilson at the end of October, so please get that book. You have a second paper due on the 5th of November. And then we're going to move into Emma Maris's Rambunctious Gardens in middle November. Then you have Thanksgiving break. And then we meet again on the 3rd of December. These will be individual paper conferences, which you will have with me about your final papers, which will have your final papers will require you to do a little bit of research, drawing on outside sources. So we'll talk about that. And we'll also touch base to talk about how your writing has been going in the semester and how your writing for that final paper is going. The 10th, you give me a first draft of your last paper. We will have one last class meeting on December 10th. I have a visitor, very excited to have a colleague who is a wonderful artist who's going to come and talk to us about her art and environmental issues and the role her art plays in environmental activism. And then on the 5th, model 15th, that's the 17th of December, your final papers are due, okay? Okay. And I think that's all I need to say about that for now. So let me pause and see. Does anybody have any questions?
I've got one question about paper 2. Is there, I'm not sure if like I didn't hear this or anything, but is there like, because for the other papers, there's a first draft and then there's a final draft. Like,
yeah, I'm not doing
about paper 2?
I'm not doing a draft for paper 2.
Okay.
Just
cool.
for the first and the third. These are rough drafts that you will submit to me, and then I'll review them and get them back to you with comments.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I have a question also.
Yeah, go for it.
Like, even if we don't have to turn in a draft, will we, like for paper 2, can we do one anyway and ask
Sure.
you to review it?
Sure, of course. That would be super. We also have a writing studio on campus, which is going to be working remotely, of course. There's a selection of tutors that will be able to work with you, and they will be doing it via Zoom. I've included the link for this on your first paper directions, but maybe I'll make this available elsewhere on Canvas so you know how to reach out to them. But if you wanted to get me a rough draft for paper 2, it'd have to be sooner rather than later in the process, you know, not too close to the final due date there. That's my only recommendation. Anybody else have any questions or comments about anything? All good? All right, I'm going to go on to the next thing then. I'm just going to show you what the Canvas site looks like. So I just put this at the top, right? I just put this right now. There's your Zoom address for all class meetings. When in doubt, 1 p.m. EST on a Thursday, click on there and you can join us. I also posted the syllabus here under module 1. Here's module 2, due September 10th. That's a week from today. There's your reading from Rousseau. It is the part 1 of the second discourse of Rousseau. That discourse, by the way, is also known as Discourse on the Nature of Inequality. That's the official title. And then I have posted here reading responses for you guys. So I'll just go over what this looks like. Please provide answers to 3 of the following questions about Rousseau's Discourses, Part 1. Make sure your answers are detailed and thorough. Complete your answers before our class meeting on September 10th. And so I've given 4 questions there, and you may choose 3 of them to answer. To answer, you simply click on reply. And I would like to see a good paragraph for each one. The better answers will be substantive and detailed. Okay? All right. Apologize for noise on my end. I am at home, so this is not to be helped. And I am also at home with my 3 kids. So I don't know what kind of surprise entries we may have on occasion, but I'll do my best. I may move down to campus to do some of these classes where I can get some peace and quiet. So that's for module 2. Module 3, you see here I put Dao De Ching part 1 and 2 and your reading responses to the Dao De Ching, and then Michael Pollan, Botany of Desire, and the reading responses. And then here's your directions for your paper, Critical Analysis Essay 1. I'd like you to email them to me. Geez, I got to indicate this on the directions, but I'd like you to send them to me as Google Docs because I'm going to be grading these digitally. Then there's module 6, module 7, module 8. I don't include the reading here because that's the reading you're going to have to buy. That's the book. You can get a digital copy or hardback or paperback, whatever you prefer. And I haven't finished building out the rest of the class. Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
There were 2 books that we bought, and you mentioned one of the books, and we're going to be touching base on that at the end. Is that what I saw?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we're reading Edward Wilson is one of the books I want you to have, and you need that for October 22nd, 29th, and then you'll need Emma Maris's Rambunctious Garden for the 12th and the 19th.
Of September?
That's November.
November. Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
About the paper, you said you wanted the final paper submitted to you by email.
Yeah, yeah. Please, and Google Docs, please. I think I haven't done much digital grading before, but I understand Google Docs is the best way to do that. So.
And would that go for all of our papers, including the drafts?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll remind you of that as we move along.
Okay.
Any other questions? All good? Okay. I have to talk to you guys about something you have to do after class. You have to do, since you are all first year students, you have to do a writing assessment. I'm going to show you where that is. Okay. You have to go to quizzes. You might want to write this down. I'll send you directions after. I'll send an email. And then you click on writing assessment under quizzes. It's the only quiz there. And this is my version, but this is what it's going to look like for you. Okay. This writing assessment is going to be available for 12 hours from 3 p.m. EST to 3 a.m. EST. And you are to do this, and it is timed. You have an hour to do it. You can, of course, do it in less than an hour. If I received an accommodation letter for you from the Learning Resource Center, then you have extended time, which I've already allowed for individual students. So you don't need to worry, okay, about that. Let me go over these. Just some general comments about these writing assessments, why we're doing them. First of all, to get a sense of your writing style, but also to assess the need for additional writing support in a class we call the Academic Writing Workshop, which is 1.5 credits, which we run every semester and is voluntary, it's not required. You will receive notice if, I believe it, oh, perhaps it is required, excuse me. You will receive notice if you will be placed in in a writing workshop section within 3 days of having taken the assessment. And it looks like your advisor will be in touch with you. So that is, Laura is her name. The rubric for these is pretty basic. It's pretty simple, but I'm told that when you click on student instructions for the assessment, you'll find this rubric under the General Education Program Learning Outcomes. If you have any questions, I can try and provide those for you after class. Let me look at these here now, and then I'll open it up for questions. So student instructions. You're going to choose between 2 prompts below and respond to one in a thorough, well-reasoned essay. So there you can see already what some of the rubric is. It has to be thorough, and it has to be well-reasoned. This is an ungraded assignment used to get a baseline assessment of your writing. This is a timed activity. Please do not start the writing assessment if you don't have at least 1 uninterrupted hour to write your response. Okay, I'll read the essay and consider these 2 for the PLO. Here are the PLO. Students will express ideas and judgment writing that is clear, detailed, concrete, coherent, and formally correct. So there you have it. By formally correct, we mean, you know, complete sentences. Do your best with your spelling. That's not a deal breaker here. Coherent has to be clear. Concrete, be specific, give details, right? Explain your claims. You'll produce ethically sourced writing, which means that your response here is yours alone and not the work of others. And I provided 2 prompts. What is the difference between graffiti and vandalism? Explain your answer thoroughly. Or here are 2 photos of the MICA campus. Describe the buildings in detail. Explain in detail the impression that each photo gives about MICA. Okay. So, you know, I wouldn't stress too much over this assessment if I were you. I have proctored it for many years for first-year students. It is meant to be a gauge just to check in with your writing. While I do not run the writing workshops, I can open it up for questions right now if anybody has anything they'd like to ask about this. Otherwise, I think it's kind of self-explanatory. But does anybody have any questions about the writing assessment? Yeah, go for it, Ashley.
So is this the first year class?
Yes.
Oh. All right.
It's not always first-year students, though. It might be students who have not yet taken the first-year class. Are you a transfer student?
No, I'm a junior.
Oh. Did you take critical inquiry?
Yes.
You need to go talk to your advisor.
All right.
You're
Yeah, I
welcome.
just the email now after you said first year assessment. I was like, wait, am I supposed to be in this class?
All right. Well, why don't you duck out, Ashley, and go chat with your advisor?
Like, I don't want to leave though. I sent her an email just now. Like, so.
Ashley, you can stay. I would love to have you. It's going to be a great class, and you need the academic credits anyway. So let me turn to our other first-year students here for a second, see if anybody has any questions about the writing assessment. Anybody else?
I have a I have another class before this, and I believe it's Art Matters, and I'm doing 2 writing assignments. Does that sound correct? Like writing assessment things?
You're doing a writing assessment for them also?
Yes.
I don't know what that is in response to. I mean,
Well, I was told that I had to get a writing assessment for first year, and I was wondering, would that be per class, or is that one writing assignment assessment in general? Or should I just talk to the other teacher?
who's your other instructor?
Honestly, forgot his name. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I think it's Kerr, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Kerr's having you guys do an assessment also?
Kerr Houston? Yeah, it's Kerr Houston.
Because my advisor told me I was only doing one, so that's why I'm
Yeah.
like confused and I'm doing
Yeah. I thought we're only doing one, but I'm not sure we're doing both. Your class and Kerr's class as well.
All right. I'll find out as soon as we're done here,
Okay, thank you.
and I'll let y'all know.
Thank you.
Everybody's got to do at least one, okay? You can do mine or Kerr's. Any other questions?
So the topic of that is what's shown on your example,
Yes.
the gravity one and describe mica building.
Yeah, you're going to see it yourself. The quiz is going to open up for you at 3 a.m. It's not available yet. 3 p.m. It'll only be available for you in an hour and a half. I'm not going to show it to you again because it's timed and you got to see it and then do it right then and there. Okay. I already kind of cheated and let you see it. Anybody else?
So what time exactly does what's the time duration that you have, like, it's open to? Because I'm in India and it's like gonna be 12 o'clock at night. I don't particularly want to do it at 12 o'clock at
Do it in the
night.
morning. It's available for 12 hours.
Okay.
Anybody else? All right. Well, I'll stick around after class if you want to ask some questions. And Anne, very important question. Please remind me to ask, see what's going on with Kerr there at the end. I'll find out. Okay, I want to move on to the next part of class, which is some introductions. I'm going to go last, but I want to hear from you all. I want you to tell me, who are you? Where are you? And why don't you let everybody know what you think your major might be or is, if you already chose one. So who's gonna, I could work my way around here. I don't know. I don't know what you guys see, but
I
I
can
see.
go first.
Oh, okay, never mind. There we go. We got a first goer. Go for it, Ashley.
So I'm Ashley Laura. I am in Jacksonville, North Carolina. My major is GFA, and I don't think I can switch out of this class because it's only frameworks, this class that's available to me, because I can't take senior thesis yet.
You're a junior, you said?
Yeah.
All right. All right, Jacksonville, North Carolina. Super. Who is next? All right, I'm just going to go around my screen. Anne, I see you here. Go for it, Anne.
Hey,
What's about yourself?
I'm Anne. I, she, her pronouns. I'm currently in Baltimore, actually across the street from Micah. I just moved here 2 months ago, and my major is interdisciplinary sculpture.
Cool. Are you in a dormitory?
No, I live in an apartment.
An apartment, okay. Duncan.
I'm Duncan. I'm also in Baltimore. And I'm also a sculpture major.
Baltimore sculpture. All right. Vincenzo.
Okay, I'm Vincenzo. Right now I'm in Miami, Florida. My major might be video game design.
Video game design. Okay. Mickey.
Hi, I'm Mickey. I'm a GFA major and I live in Baltimore.
GFA in Baltimore. Okay. Are you living down near campus, Mickey?
Yeah, I live on Biddle Street, so like not too far away.
Nice. Ash.
Sorry. I'm Ash. They, them, please. And I live in Elkridge, Maryland, so it's pretty close to Baltimore.
Elkridge. You're a local. All right. That's right outside Baltimore. Everybody. And Nayana.
I'm Nayana. I'm in India and I'm a sophomore printmaking major.
Great. Where are you in India?
New Delhi.
Nice. Thank you. Kendall.
I'm Kendall. I'm from Baltimore, so here.
Nice.
I'm a transfer junior student, and I am a photography major.
Great. Thank you. Felix.
Hi, I'm Felix. I live in West Virginia, and I'm pretty sure I'm the only person going to MICA that's from West Virginia. I have yet to meet anyone else that's from here. So I'm like 3 hours away from Baltimore. I'm either gonna major in animation or film, I think.
What part of West Virginia?
I live in Morgantown, which is where West Virginia University is. It's like very, very northern. It's like it's basically Ohio.
Gotcha. Well, one of my favorite students, who is now an alumnus, was from Charlestown. Charleston? What's the capital?
Charleston, yeah, that's the capital.
So there's an illustrious West Virginia graduate.
Okay, awesome. I'm glad I'm not the only person.
Well, maybe in this class, who knows, in this grade, but we'll see. Maximilian.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Max. I'm in Timonium, Maryland right now. And I'm a painting major.
So you're a local also?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Where'd you go to high school?
Embarrassed to admit it, but I went to Hereford High School.
Why are you embarrassed to admit it?
Because Hereford's awful.
I'm in Towson. I was just kind of being nosy, everybody. I'm right north of the city, and I was asking, he's right near me. My kids are at Delaney, Maximilian. So, rivals.
I just moved in with my girlfriend, and she lives in Timonium, and she went to Delaney.
All right, there we go. Cool. Nice to meet you. How about Rachel?
Hi. My major is animation, and what was the other thing?
Where are you?
Oh, I live in Virginia.
What part?
Fairfax. It's like Northern Virginia. It's a couple hours away from MICA.
Yep, right near Washington.
Yeah.
Elva.
I'm Elva. My major is going to be in graphic design, and I'm from Queens, New York. So I'm in New York City.
Nice. Graphic design. James.
Hi, I'm James, and I'm from Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and I am a transfer graphic design major.
Graphic design. Cool. And Upper Marlboro, that's also near DC.
Yeah, like a good 40 minutes away.
Mm-hmm. Mackenzie.
Hi everyone, I'm Mackenzie. I'm currently in Severn, Maryland, which is about like 20 minutes outside of Baltimore, and I plan on majoring in general fine arts.
Great. Theo.
I'm Theo, and currently in Frederick, Maryland, so like an hour away from Baltimore, I think. And first year, and my major is graphic design.
Awesome. Frederick, great. And Naima.
Hi. Sorry for any background noise. My desk is in the living room area. My mom's working right now. I'm Naima. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and my intended major is graphic design.
Graphic design, Brooklyn. Nice. Elva, there's a neighbor for you. That's awesome. Okay. I think that's everybody. Did I miss anyone? Oh, Ava. Sorry. Go for it, Ava. Let's hear from you.
Yeah, no big deal. I'm Ava. I'm in Wilmington, Delaware, which is about 3 hours away from Baltimore, to give some context, and I'll probably major in illustration.
Illustration. Great. Anybody else? Ruby.
Hi, I'm Ruby. I'm located in Canada, Toronto, and my major is animation. I probably go art history.
Nice. Animation and art history?
This is the these are the two majors I like.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
In Toronto? Awesome. Okay. Cool. Well, I think we got everybody now. So, yeah, we're going to be doing this online, you know, little different, a little weird. You know, we usually do this in person in a nice, cozy seminar room at MICA. And we can all see each other. Well, we can all see each other. We can all talk to each other, and we feel each other's presence, and maybe we smell what they had for lunch and smell my coffee, and, you know, hear the train rumbling outside MICA. Well, that's going to have to wait. We'll be back in the classroom. Who knows when? Maybe I'm hopeful for spring, but maybe, you know, next year looking more positive. My name is Furman. I have taught at MICA for 15 years now. My specialty is philosophy. I have a PhD in philosophy, and my specialty in philosophy is political philosophy. I wrote a book a few years ago about the gun debate in America. I have a book coming out this month on privacy and how it's dead. And MICA students are actually really helpful. When I wrote both books, they really helped me understand the issues and think about them critically and think about them, you know, in novel ways. So, you know, for me, class is a learning experience. You know, I have a lot to learn from you all, and I'm excited to get to know you better this semester. What else should I tell you? I live outside Baltimore. I'm actually from Baltimore, born and raised. I did move away for a while, spent some time in Boston, spent some time in Atlanta, spent some time in Belgium where I studied. I have 4 children. They are teenagers. And so they're all at home. As Maximilian knows, everybody in Baltimore County, where I am, is online. So we're all in the house fighting over the same Wi-Fi. I think it's going to be all right, but no promises my kids won't make any noise and barge in. There's a good chance of that. I think that's all I need to tell you for now about myself. And, you know, I've taught this class last year on the same theme and the same selection of books, and I thought just about the same selection of books, not completely, and I thought it went really well. It was very interesting. It was a nice discussion, you know, on a good topic that I think is timely and brought us to take up considerable issues pertaining to, you know, climate change and environmentalism and the like. And so I am excited to do this with you all. And I hope this will be a beneficial class for you. You know, one of the most important things that in my department we hope will come out of this class is that, you know, you will get good practice in writing, because writing is a very important skill. The college as a whole puts a big emphasis on that. Even in your studio departments, you will have to write a personal artist statement later in your career here at MICA, and so writing skills are really important for that, okay? Anybody have any general questions or comments at this point? Okay, just a little bit about the technology in this class. If possible, I'd like to see you. If possible, I'd like you to have your video camera on. I won't require it because I know shit goes on, but do your best, please. I find that when the camera is on, it feels a little bit better, a little bit more like a classroom, you know what I mean? So the other thing I wanted to say is, you know, there is a chat function. Feel free to join in there. I am not a tech whiz by any stretch of the imagination. I'm going to do my best. I have taught online a bunch over the past few years, been pretty successful. But just, I'm not a tech whiz. So, you know, if you notice I'm doing anything wrong with the technology, I would really like your help. Okay, just let me know. Good. So I wanted to have a little bit of a conversation with you all today. On the topic of the wild. I mean, we'll have plenty of time to discuss this term and the meanings, the various meanings and implications of this term. So I don't need to dive into that right away. But, you know, in a way, this pandemic fits in with the theme of the wild in this regard. I was reading a big piece in the Atlantic the other day, and it was pointing about the pandemic, and it was pointing out that, you know, this could only be the beginning of future trends, because as humanity pushes, you know, further and further into the wild, and there is less wilderness, pure pristine, isolated wilderness, we have more and more interactions with wild creatures. And these pandemics generally happen when a virus jumps from an animal to humans. And so the Atlantic article was pointing out that this is really going to be, you know, something that we're going to have to get used to. You know, our relationships to the wild. This is the reason that this pandemic, that these pandemics, you know, are happening. And what was chilling about the article is that it pointed out that this could be nothing more than a starter pandemic, in the sense that, you know, while coronavirus is pretty contagious, it is not as deadly, for example, as Ebola. So put together something as contagious as coronavirus with something deadly like Ebola, and you really have a pandemic on your hands. The article in the Atlantic was about how the United States has been such a miserable failure in dealing with this. So it was not a very happy or cheery article to read. But I thought that, you know, maybe we would talk about the pandemic a little bit, because, geez, that's really, you know, determining so much right now. And I was thinking about it in these terms. First of all, you know, if you talk to your parents or your grandparents or family, and, you know, they will tell you, people that are, you know, maybe a generation older than you, they will tell you that, you know, there is, for every generation, there is an event that occurs that is memorable and perhaps transformative, which they never forget. For my parents' generation, I remember my dad saying that that was when John F. Kennedy was killed. He remembers where he was when that happened. And maybe it didn't have huge geopolitical impact, but it was something that really shaped, really shook them at that point, you know. And then I remember my mother saying when she heard that MLK was shot, that had a similar effect on her. And that did have a very big geopolitical impact. In my own life, you know, we're all friends here. We're going to be friends. I might as well be on. I'm in my 40s, to be honest. And when I was just a little bit older than you, 9/11 happened. And that was an event that I remember, I remember where I was when I heard that news. And I remember watching the TV and seeing that second tower fall. And that was an event that had a huge geopolitical impact. You know, for the last 20 years, we've been dealing with terror, you know, and all the civil rights, you know, war on terror and all the civil rights offenses that the government, you know, has been giving green light to our government. So that had a big impact. And I was thinking this pandemic it may well be that kind of an event for you, you know? And I'd like to talk about that a little bit. I think first though, I want to wade into something a little bit broader, and then maybe we can hone it in if you're willing to share. But there's, you know, when you have these major events, these major transformative events, they are transformative, right? That means there are going to be some possibly profound, enduring changes. And I wonder what you think might be some of these profound and enduring changes wrought by the pandemic. Who wants to share their thoughts on that? What do you think might be some, you can start small, you know? Is there some aspect of human life or human social life or economic life that you think might go extinct or be born in you? What do you think?
I think we'll all be a lot more mindful of our space and interaction, like physical interaction with people. I think even if the virus goes away or if there's a vaccine or something, I think it will all be in the back of our minds that, you know, like someone's close to me, like before I let someone like talk to me in my face, and now I'm like, why did I do that? You know? So I think that's like a big thing.
Thank you.
I have one. Me myself, I'm a huge concert goer. I'm really like into, you know, live music and bands and stuff. And the last concert I went to was in February. That was very fun. But now thinking about it, you know, a lot of concerts have been postponed and canceled and rescheduled because of the whole pandemic. So I have it in the back of my mind, like, how are they going to do concerts now? How like for, you know, festivals and outside festivals, you know, they can, you know, spread people out. But what about smaller venues? Because with smaller venues, it's only general admission. So, you know, we're all used to, you know, being all squished together, you know, in the pit. But I think that will definitely be changed. You know, my first concert of 2021, I would definitely, I don't know which one that will be yet, but I would definitely see a change in how concerts work.
Good point. Thank you. Somebody else. What other changes do you think will come?
I'm hoping that it makes people a lot more conscious about their understanding of how schoolwork physically. Like, I've had lots of arguments with people about like whether or not they should send like K through 12 kids back to school. And it's like, having gone through that very recently, like, cause a lot of us just graduated from high school. It's like, we are conscious and we are aware of how crowded those schools can get, especially for me, cause my school, I mean, I live in West Virginia. We do not have the funds to get any bigger of a school. 1920, and so it's like basically 100 years old now, and the capacity of my school is basically at 170%. Like, there's way too many students, and the idea of forcing all those kids to go back to school in these times is terrifying to me, because I know that a lot of people are going to get sick if they do that, and I think they're doing it anyway. And I hate to say it, but I hope they learn their lesson, that it's not going to work out, because having that experience very recently, I just hope that a lot of the older generation, like parents and grandparents, realize that it's not a good idea forcing all these kids in K through 12 to go back to their super cramped spaces.
Gotcha. Good. Thank you.
Kind of branching off on what they said was, I think like this time, even though it really sucks about online learning or online activities, hobbies, groups, anything like that, it does suck, but it is opening this door of like this new normal. So I feel like it's becoming comfortable. Like, no matter how much we hate it, it's comfortable. Like, like I'll sign up for an event and be like a Zoom meeting. I don't know if like anyone remembers, but when Zoom was like, in the second semester last year, Zoom was a lot. Like, you could only be on here for 45 minutes or it'd kick you like the whole class off. Like, it's definitely upgraded. So I think like our communication and our like outlet, or I don't know what the word for it is, but our output of the Zoom thing, it's just like progressing more and more, and it's kind of weird, but like kind of cool, because then we can kind of do anything,
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I've moved around a lot my whole life, so now I can, I'm originally from Phoenix, so it's like now I can go to things in Phoenix online, so that's kind of cool. So up, down, 50-50.
Good idea. Thank you. What else? Yeah. Duncan, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I noticed that travel has changed a lot. I didn't travel much anyways, but I guess on top of that, the way that Americans are perceived now, we're sort of unwanted. And yeah, we had the bar set pretty low to start before the pandemic. And I feel like the steps we took to try to combat it really changed how we're seen by the rest of the world.
Good. Now we're talking about like real, monumental, perhaps enduring change, like our geopolitical standing in the world. How is the United States going to be viewed after this? After having failed so spectacularly? Baltimore in particular is a center, believe it or not, for public health studies, Hopkins. I said to my wife just the other day, why would anybody come and study here for public health, given the way we have failed so miserably? So just to give you some statistics, the United States has 4% of the world population. We have a quarter of the global COVID cases, a quarter. It's it's just mind-blowing how poorly we've done with this. Good. What might that do to our political standing? Anne talks about the growing role of digital technology, right? We've all been forced to rely on this, right? What other changes do you all see might come out of this experience?
I think personally, America is either going to crumble to capitalism or like overthrow it completely, because during this pandemic, billionaires have earned a lot of like stock and net. So now I guess like the top 1% is worth about 50% of America's lowest class, I think. I have those numbers wrong. And I've noticed, maybe it's just me, like, because New York City, it's like it's really democratic. So maybe it's just me, but personally, I've definitely gone a lot more radical. And I think there is especially because of Bernie, and there's a growing radical movement. So I feel like we're like, America's in like late stage capitalism. We're completely fucked. Like, you know, Amazon's gonna take over. It's like at this point, like you should choose your capitalistic overlord. Like choose Amazon or Google. Like choose one now before, you know, they destroy all of us. But I think like that's gonna be a really big theme, especially after the election.
Wow. You didn't hold any punches there. Mackenzie, you're cheering. What's going on? Cheering her on?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Wow. Anybody else?
Oh, Carmen?
I fully 100% agree. I think we're just now realizing, because we can't work, how much work has impeded on our lives, especially racially, and how much that has been just accepted, and how much we've just kind of like just been letting it happen for so long. Now that there's no work to stop us, we, like in Brooklyn and in New York, everybody's going to protest almost every single day. I'm looking at my friends' Instagram stories, and they're posting a new protest almost every single day for Black lives, for Black trans lives. Like, now that we don't have to continuously try and earn money every single day, we can start actually fighting for the things that are really, really important to us, you know? And I think that capitalism and how that controls the lower class and the middle class, it's really starting to be highlighted, how like, it's like not like coming out right, like how I'm saying it, but it's really starting to like dawn on us how much that impacts our lives, even though we want to say like, oh, we're a laissez-faire economy, so like anything can kind of happen, anybody can go up the social ladder. But that's not exactly true, because then all these people up at the top make it so that then nobody can move up. And so, yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Furman?
Go for it.
So my advisor told me to not attend this class.
Oh, okay. See you later.
So I'm gonna go fix my schedule.
Bye, Ashley. It was nice knowing you.
It was nice seeing you guys and knowing you. Bye.
We were a family briefly. Bye. So great.
Wait, I believe
Yeah.
Rachel's been wanting to talk.
Go for it, Rachel. Oh, by the way, before I forget, I'm so sorry, Rachel, but there is an option to raise your hand down below. Does anybody know where that is? That might make
Oh, yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've used it before. I guess I just didn't think of it at this moment.
You all can do that. You can wave your hands, or you can get Ann to get my attention. Either way. Go for it, Rachel.
I think some people, maybe it won't be permanent, but like some people get like worse at talking. Like what I mean like is like socially awkward, which is good for me because I get to drag you all down to my level. No, I'm kidding. But like, you know, you don't see people that often, and in Zoom you can tell who's talking and who's not, and stuff like walking in the halls and greeting your friends before they go to class. It's like, and also for us, we like the people who graduated high school and don't really know anyone will definitely have a harder time probably. And maybe when this is over, they'll be like, I forget how to interact with people again.
Wow. Interesting thought. Anybody else? What else? Other changes. Ava, I see you raise your hand.
Yeah,
Kendall,
I
who's
just.
next?
Oh, sorry. What'd you say?
I was asking if Kendall was also raising his hand.
Oh yeah, she can go first.
All right, Ava, then Kendall.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. Yeah. I think there's a lot of analysis that needs to be done systemically and interpersonally about disability and what this pandemic has meant for disability. It's kind of been, you know, I don't have a physical disability, but it's been extremely strange to see this huge turnaround for like able-bodied people to get these accommodations right away when everyone needed them, when disabled people have been asking for them for months. So, you know, there's a tiny, like almost non-existent optimistic part of me that wants to be like, well, maybe this will force people to consider disabled people in their daily lives and also, you know, systemically. But yeah, that's a very small part of me.
Good. Thank you very much. Kendall.
Oh, I was just gonna say one thing I've noticed doing all this is I've seen a huge spike in people being more creative since they have more time to actually sit down and just do, you know, things or, you know, ideas that they had. Like I've seen a lot of people achieving goals, whether that be, you know, losing weight or just, you know, creating their own small business during this pandemic. And I found that to be very interesting just because, like, you know, you don't really notice how many things you have piled on to your list, or, you know, you don't really notice how much you have going on that prevents you from actually doing stuff that you've been wanting to do for the longest. And due to this pandemic, I've noticed that there have been a lot of people who I've seen successfully reaching those goals that they've had planned for the longest.
Kendall, what a nice positive note. I love it. Yeah, I could also ask the question, what, if anything, might you miss from the pandemic? And I really, of course, I hated it because I'm a social person, but I remember I got to sleep 8 hours a night and I didn't have to commute, and I did have more time, that's for sure. I remember I lived near the Beltway in Baltimore, and I remember stepping out at night one night and I didn't hear anything, which is crazy. You know, it was far out, visiting downtown Baltimore and not seeing a single car on the road. Pictures of New York City with no cars. You know, we were given time. You know, maybe people will recognize the value of time going forward. You know, maybe that's one change. That would be nice. Anybody else?
I've also noticed that, especially since school has started, the conversation topic that has come up is the debate that if Wi-Fi and internet use is a privilege or a necessity. And I think that's very interesting, especially hearing all like, you know, there's many different families all over the country, all over the world. But I'm thinking of a couple news articles and videos I watched of like single Latino mothers in like LA, you know, like, or outside of LA that are like working with like 5 kids, no internet, one hotspot. And it's like spiking up this whole debate, and now it's like becoming political. And it's like, you've kind of noticed everything is kind of turning political, but especially in a time where there's so much uncertainty and a lot of American people are looking for answers. They're like, let's turn to politics. But I thought that was interesting. I don't know if anyone wanted to like comment on that or what they think.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I was gonna.
Let me let Theo had his hand up. Let's see
Sorry.
what he has to say, and then go for it, Theo.
Picking back off of Anne's, like, so now like the question being, like, should we provide like internet access or like online education to every single family that are, you know, that are like K-12 or going on education, because some families, they don't even have a laptop to use, and they physically have to go to the library to, you know, to get access to regular education. So that's one of the topics.
Good. Thank you. Felix, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I wanted to say about the Wi-Fi being a privilege or a necessity, like especially, you know, like West Virginia, we're poor. But like I knew people personally, specifically at my high school, that did not have internet at home, that had to commute like 2 hours just to go to a high school, 2 hours just to go to a grocery store. Like the fact that hopefully people are making things, like are realizing that like a connection to the internet, since it's so important now, is a necessity instead of a privilege, because it's been a privilege for a long time and it's made a lot of people suffer. And I'm also hoping that people realize that the necessity of making sure that things are available to people. Like I said, there are people I know personally that have to commute 2 hours just to go to the nearest grocery store, and there are some people I know that have to commute 3 hours just to go to a hospital. And I'm hoping those kinds of things become more accessible, as in like you know, like DoorDash and Uber Eats. Those are all a thing where you can like get food delivered to you. I hope that becomes more accessible to people all over the country instead of just in highly populated areas. I'm hoping that people realize how important it is to get food and other products to people in impoverished areas.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, there's a reckoning with digital technology that's coming, you know. I have a sense that this experience is either going to ramp up our reliance on digital technology or maybe do the opposite. How might it ramp it up? Well, you know, shopping malls have been really hurt, for example. And even older generations of people who are not terribly technologically, adept. I think of my mother, who's a senior citizen. They have now started to buy things online. And that generational discovery is kind of devastating to brick and mortar stores, you know. My mother has figured out how to buy stuff online. She can stay at home and do it all, right? As opposed to getting in her car and driving down to the mall. And she likes to avoid crowds. There's a lot of people thinking about what this will do for work. You know, maybe you see this in your own family, maybe in your own work, right? People, you know, maybe the commute is a thing of the past, at least for some people, which would not be an awful thing. I think a commute is, I'm not a fan of a commute. In some, like around Washington and New York and LA, you're talking commutes of like 1 to 2 hours. That builds up over a lifetime. You spend weeks, months in a car. And that's lost time in some cases. You know, maybe you can work in different areas. Maybe this could prove something. Maybe this experience could prove like rejuvenating for the areas of West Virginia that Felix is talking about. Like suddenly now you don't have to live in a city. Maybe you can now live and work in a small town that is these small towns that have been depopulating for so long. Everybody in academia is wondering what this means for schooling and college. For the longest time, I was technologically adverse. I did everything old school in the classroom. Well, now I'm a reluctant convert to Zoom, you know, like in the old days, I would make an appointment with you and you'd come into my office, brave the rain and the traffic to get in. Now we can do this on Zoom in a flash of an eye. You know, I don't know what this means. I don't believe that Zoom is a suitable substitute for the classroom experience, but it's definitely going to bring some changes that I don't know. You know, I don't know what those changes will be. It's hard to predict. Anybody have anything they wanted to add? I have another question. How has this pandemic impacted you personally? Is there anybody be willing to talk about that?
I guess I'll go. With the pandemic, it has impacted me as far as like how I manage my time and how I can do things more productively. With the pandemic and everything going on, I work in a retail space, so I'm actually, back at work and I'm interacting with a lot of people and everything like that. But yeah, as far as like making time for people that are in my life and everything like that, while still making sure that I'm okay. And as far as, because I also paint and I design in my free time and all that stuff. So I want to make time for that and work on myself and everything like that. So I think as far as the pandemic, I'm just trying to look at all the positive aspects of it, because I know that there are a lot of crazy things happening. So yes, just production and all that stuff.
Thank you. Anybody else? How has the pandemic affected you personally?
I think I can just go.
Oh.
You can go. You can go first.
Okay. So for me, so the last day of high school that my school had was March 13th, and I actually was not there that day. So everything kind of like broke down on that day because like, they announced that school was going to be closing, and I was like, I haven't seen it's really about me seeing like my friends, and just we haven't seen each other since the pandemic started. And it's crazy to see that we were fine like just a couple weeks before, and then this whole the whole pandemic just completely changed how things were. So that's how it affected me personally. It's just seeing the whole like development of everything, I guess.
Thank you. Theo.
For me, like our parents, we usually have a tradition where we would visit our like relatives that are out of Maryland. So we don't really get to see any of them, like usually like yearly, like during Christmas or whatever. So those traditions are like changing, but it's kind of sad, but it's just, I guess, the way it is. So.
Thank you. Anybody else? How has it affected you personally? Go for it.
Hey, I'd say it's affected, I mean, obviously a lot of things, but mostly like, I mean, this is a time that like you could stop and like work on your work and produce a lot, but I think it definitely has affected my portfolio stuff, because every summer I'm a part of like a thing in Montreal where it's like this art collective like mural festival thing, and I always do a lot of work. I've been doing it for the last 5 years, and a lot of stuff to add to a portfolio, helping, and then as well as my own work, painting experience, extra big scale stuff. So this year was like the first year I haven't done it. So I noticed from that happening in the beginning of summer, it just kind of like made me kind of bummed. But I mean, like, it's fine. Next year will happen. So I'm not like, super dwelling on it, but it does suck.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I was gonna say, like, with Mackenzie talking about her friends, it's actually kind of me because my friend group was drifting away anyway, so it gave us a reason to like finally like cut things off, because yeah, like a lot of like basically all of my friends except one were going to go to the same college, and I was going to be the outlier. I was going to be the person that was leaving the state, and they were all staying. And so they had already basically cut me off, so then it just gave me a reason to never talk to them again. So now I have way better friends that
You have us.
I've been talking to people that are gonna be other freshmen at Micah. Yeah, like I've already been talking to people that are gonna go to Micah, and I've made a lot of good friends over just a few months, and I feel way more comfortable talking to them than I ever did with my original friends. So
What's
socially,
it like?
I've benefited.
Thank you, Felix. What's it like making friends, new friends, digitally like this? I'm just asking out of curiosity. Y'all can indulge me or not.
Well, I would say that it's definitely way less awkward. Like people that would normally be very like socially anxious. A lot of people that are socially anxious feel more comfortable talking online because they don't feel like they have constantly eyes on them. So I feel like a lot of people are more comfortable talking. A lot of people are more open to sharing things, especially like for example, if there's like an issue going on, like there's like someone needs to talk to someone because something bad is happening to them, like, or in their area, a lot of people are afraid to speak out about that like in person. But when it's online, you can very privately talk with someone and you can comfort them on like a very personal level. It's way easier to me, at least, to talk with people individually and in a group. Like you can decide how many people you want to talk to at once. And I feel like, and it's also way more like it's easier to talk to people from all over the world, basically. Like now I have a friend that lives in Brazil. I probably would have never like befriended her had I not like talked online first. Like, so it's just like you're definitely exposed to a lot more people than you would have been. And I think that's great.
Ava, were you going to speak up there?
Oh, yeah, sorry, my voice is cutting out. I just was gonna bring back Rachel's like equal ground, sort of like welcome to my level feeling. 'Cause that's a good mantra, I think, for trying to talk to people online.
Cool. Duncan.
I was going to say that I feel like our generation sort of had practice with this. Like we have already been pretty decent, whether it's through like social media or video games or something like that. Like we've had some practice making friends online. So I don't think it hit. I might just be speaking for myself because I was a bit of a recluse like before the pandemic even started. But yeah, I don't think making friends online or dealing with people digitally was really tough for us. I think we kind of just slid into it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I actually have a similar opinion with what Duncan said of how like we're already like used to social media and everything, and even if you are outspoken or if you're really a shy person, if anything, we know how to talk to people at least online because people love to share their opinions and all that stuff like that. So I feel like as far as talking goes and as far as like what Micah has done so far with the app coming out and the student feed, how we've already been interacting with each other, it's already been easier for us to establish connections with people. So say if like whenever we do open campus back up, then we would already have like our own group of people already to talk to and connect with, so we don't have to worry about anything.
Nice. That gives a nice segue to my next question, which we're near the end here, so last question pretty much. But what are you disappointed you're missing out on from an on-campus experience just yet? What were you kind of looking forward to that's been put on pause? How about that? Mackenzie has her hand up. Go for it.
I was really looking forward to moving into the dorms. I think a lot of people were, really excited about that. I mean, literally my guest room is just filled with boxes and boxes of stuff that I was going to need for my dorm, and I was ready for that. I was ready to have basically my own apartment because I was going to have a single dorm. I wasn't going to have a roommate. But I was really looking forward to that, and just like because I like designing things. I mean, you can see from my room, like I like meticulously putting things where I like them. So I was like really looking forward to like, oh, what's my bathroom gonna look like? What's my kitchen gonna look like? You know, all that stuff.
Cool. Rachel.
So mine was kind of similar about like moving onto campus. You don't get to do that now. Like I did kind of look forward to going on campus and stuff because like it like feel more, you know, official, like college, like, you know. But because like I really wanted to change. I didn't really like high school all that much. I hated high school. It was boring. And I was kind of hoping that like I'd finally like, you know, become independent, get a little space from my parents and all that stuff. But I guess I'll have to wait a while longer. I mean, I'm pretty patient. It's not a big deal.
Thank you. Felix.
Yeah, I was gonna say with what Mackenzie said, but at a very much more down level, being able to move into a dorm. This one out of West Virginia. I've lived in the same town my entire life. I just want out of here. That's very basic need, just getting out of here. That's it.
Gotcha. Well, I'm from Baltimore and I'm a booster. I love Baltimore. So whenever you get here, I think you're going to enjoy it. I hope. It's a great place. Often maligned, but a great place. Anybody else? What you were looking forward to? Oh, Ash.
Well, I was just, I don't know, looking forward to like going inside the MICA campus, like actually go inside. I don't know, just to see like artists in person. I would have preferred that a lot. And to just see my teachers and like talk to them in person, I guess. But I was also kind of, I don't know, looking forward to like attending MICA with like a friend a high school friend who also got accepted into MICA, but he deferred to like the next year because of the pandemic and stuff like that. So I'll just have to wait for like next fall.
Gotcha. Thank you. Naima, were you going to say something, Naima?
Yeah. A lot of it was like, the thing that I was really excited about was having my own space as well. Cause like, I don't know. I just love being in the apartment by myself and just like feeling like I have control over like what I eat, what I do, just like that feeling of independence. I was really, really excited for that. And like to not like have to like really live with anybody else or to live with a dorm mate or something like that. And that was like also like learning art more and like taking the classes as well. I was also really excited for that like in-person experience. So yeah.
Great. Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, Nayana.
Yeah, it was just because my major is printmaking and like a lot of the like work is done through like the machines and like I don't like you can't have machines at home like they're that humongous. So like I guess like the like equipment or like not being able to use it. So like I'm doing screen printing online, which I mean you can get away with it, but like it's not the same as like if you were at like the 1515 building.
Yeah, which is a great facility, recently built up. Yeah, well, I feel for you guys. I was in college. It was fun. My dorm sucked. And the food was awful. Things have improved. I think you'll like your dorm rooms whenever you get there. I'm a big fan of the MICA cafeteria. Students complain, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, they have a lot of vegetarian offerings and whatnot. Baltimore is a great town. It's, there's a lot going on. I think it's just the right size. It's not too big, not too small. It's a really unique city. Hasn't gentrified as much as our neighbors, Washington, Boston, which I like. I mean, don't get me wrong, Baltimore's seen plenty of gentrification. It's just that we don't have a Gap on every corner, We've done a good job of keeping it relatively diverse. MICA's campus is nice, I like it very much. I can tell you, I love MICA students. I have taught at a lot of different schools, even though I've been full-time at MICA 15 years. I have 4 kids. I got a moonlight, so I teach at a lot of different places. I teach at Hopkins. I teach at College Notre Dame in Baltimore. I've taught at Boston College. I've taught at Morgan State. MICA students are my favorite, by far. MICA students are the most interesting kids I teach. They're the most critical, the most incisive, the liveliest, the most interesting. They're just really, I like it a lot. I think you will too whenever we are back on campus, and it will happen in the next year, who knows when. But it was really nice getting to know you guys in this first class meeting. I'm really excited. This is a great group. You guys are very thoughtful and opinionated, which I like. And you seem curious and excited to get this shit going, which is great. I really think you're going to enjoy the reading for Rousseau next week. If you've never read Rousseau before, he's a good read. He's not afraid to make some controversial statements. And we'll be using that text as kind of like a baseline, if you will, for our discussions of where this idea of wilderness, what this idea of wilderness is, what it means in Western civilization as a start, and he's kind of funny too. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. I'm gonna let you guys go now. So just a reminder, you're gonna have to read the assignment by Rousseau for next week, which is on Canvas. You have those reading responses, which I'd like you to submit by class time next week. And then you got this writing assessment, which y'all have to do, okay? That will be available in about 25 minutes, it looks like. It'll be available for you to start, and then you have at any time within the next 12 hours to do it. So if you want to go to bed now and get up later, set your alarm, do it then, that's fine too. And if you have any questions about anything, I'm going to stick around here for a few minutes just to chat with anybody, okay? But that's about it. Nice to meet you all. Very nice. And have a great week and in America, it's Labor Day holiday. So go find a barbecue or go make a barbecue. You can't go join a barbecue because social distancing. So make your barbecue and have a good time, okay? And I'll see you all next week, okay? Bye, everyone.
I have a question, actually.
Yes, sir. Go for it.
So about the writing assessment, because I noticed the questions because I just turned one in last night for, I think, Jenny Carson.
Then you're another case where you may not have to do it. I'm going to check on that right now.
Okay.
And I'm going to send an email to the class when I get the answer. I suspect you won't have to do it again.
All right, because I was just going to mention the questions that were on there were the same ones that I had last yesterday.
That's so funny. Okay. All right, Kendall, thank you. I'll find out and I'll let everybody know.
Yeah, I do have the same question because I have the one for Kerr as well.
You did it as well?
Yeah, I have the one for Kerr, yeah.
Gotcha. I'll find out right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool.
Vincenzo, you have a question? Or are you okay? Hello, hello. Okay.